Greetings, everyone, and welcome back at long last. Actually, I probably should be saying that to myself at this point. It has been 16 months of work on the official strategy guide for Elden Ring. And I can now finally tell you all that I'm done. My tasks are complete. And I'm back. And boy, have I missed you guys. As much as I enjoy working on those guides, I'll tell you what, 16 months is a long time. Like a really, really long time. It's a long time to be away from my community, it's a long time to be away from my friends, and it's a long time to be essentially chained to my desk, putting in every moment of my spare time, not spent on self-care or basic chores or, you know, just the bare minimum that needs to happen in order for me to stay alive. Dava, I do not know yet whether there is going to be a guide for the DLC, and I do not know how that is even going to work if there is one. But if it turns out I'm offered an opportunity to do that, I think I'm going to pass it on to someone else, because I need a bit of a break. I need a little time. It's good to be back, Sisu, thank you, and welcome everyone. First of all, thank you to Floofin, Lumino, Nightshade, Monotone, Red, Quaya, and Nate for the resubs during the pre-stream. I very much appreciate that. I mean, oh, Echo Drop, and thank you as well. Mayonnaise, yes, of course. What was I expecting? Welcome back to you too, Echo Drop. Thanks, I guess. Well, Dava, I haven't seen the DLC yet because, I mean, it's not out, and, I don't know how big it's going to be, but if the rest of Elden Ring is any indication, I have a feeling it's not going to be small. And frankly, I don't feel like spending another 4 months away from you guys. I really have been wanting to get back to streaming for a while. And again, I enjoy the work on the guides, but there comes a point at which enough is enough, and it's time for a bit of a change. You've probably heard me say this before, but change is the spice of life, and sometimes change is good and sometimes it's not so good, but whether it's good or bad, the fact remains that change helps prevent every day from being the same. And I guess maybe some people like it when every day is the same, but believe it or not, I need a little variety. In fact, it was, I believe the expression is variety is the spice of life, not change. But I guess change is some supplemental seasoning, maybe. I don't know how you want to extend that metaphor. I'm too tired for that, frankly. I just got back from PAX East. I still haven't even had a chance to edit my footage yet, which hopefully I'm going to be able to do fairly soon. Yeah, I wouldn't expect the DLC for Elden Ring to be out until at least the end of this year, early next, Maryland. I would say probably the end of this year at the absolute earliest, because the fact that they didn't show any gameplay when they announced the DLC suggests to me that they haven't even really started development, or that they hadn't when they announced it. So my guess is they're probably only in the early stages now, and it will take, I suspect, a fair while yet before they even have something to show. He does, Artista. He's not dead, thankfully. Yeah, Sisu, I do too. I mean, it's nice to have stability and consistency. Don't get me wrong, but when everything is the same, you kind of feel like you're just trapped in a time loop and you're not making any progress. And the feeling of stagnation is not a good one, at least not to me. Well, Echo Drop, they're probably farther along on Armored Core than they are on the Elden Ring DLC. I suspect Armored Core has been in the works for at least a little while, or had been by the time it was announced. That's my suspicion. Soul Bishop, unless your Twitch app was hibernating for 16 months, I don't think that was the problem. But to the task at hand, this game is called Dredge. It is published by Team 17, which is a reputable publisher, and I've played several games that they've published before. Hey, Tiggles, welcome! But it's developed by a studio called Black Salt. And as far as I've been able to find out, they seem to be a fairly small studio. They're an indie team. And the game came out only on March 30th, so a few days ago. I found out about it when I got back from PAX. I saw a couple of my friends playing it, and I heard a few people talking about it, and I thought, well, okay, that's interesting. I wonder what all the fuss is about. So I took a quick look, and it looked really interesting. So it's, on the face of it, it's a fishing simulator. However, I understand that there's a little bit more to it than that, and it has some, I guess, slow burn horror elements, which I'm very interested to see. Yeah, hot and fresh out of the ocean, Monotone. Literally, catch of the day. Oh, you did Meta Forever. No kidding. That's really neat. I really like the look of it, and hopefully by the time I've gotten a few hours in, I'll have a better idea of what sort of game it is. But already, I really like the stylized look of it. I like this art style. It's simple, but it has enough detail for you to get the point, and for you to feel like you're... I don't know, I mean, just the title screen is, it's pretty immersive, especially for me, as someone who grew up in New England, and who's very familiar with the sorts of environments that are being depicted here, with these lighthouses on big, jagged, rocky cliffs, and these little islands along the coast. This is basically home to me, and I already kind of I feel a connection to this game's vibe. But that said, I've already kind of gone through and done a cursory adjustment of the in-game settings, but there may be one or two more things we need to adjust as we go, and I think probably the most important one is going to be the volume. So, well, Stephen King or even H.P. Lovecraft, Maryland, a lot of the settings that Lovecraft wrote about, places like Innsmouth, were based on parts of New England, or of the East Coast anyway. And I definitely see a great deal of that in this game. So yeah, Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, maybe even a little further south. Probably not too much further south, because this is definitely a northerly environment. If we were down in the Florida area, we'd be seeing palm trees here, and there are definitely no palm trees in this environment. Yeah, Vic, and he grew up on the East Coast, if I remember correctly. Or he lived there later in life, anyway. Oh, look at that! Ah, nice, Monotone. Thanks, you beat me to it. Good shot. I was just reaching for my mod sword. Spooky air conditioning? Yeah, Artista, pretty much. All right, what I think I'm gonna do, we might have to start the game in order to be able to get a better idea of this, but it's usually the music that's too loud, so I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit. I guess we'll leave master volume where I originally had it, and we'll have to make adjustments on the fly as we go. Oh god, this I didn't think to look at. Oh god, that's a lot. Gossamer! Thank you so much for the resub, Gossamer. It's so good to see you. Guys, if you don't know Gossamer, let me give her a shout out here. She is a very good friend of mine. And she does actually stream. There we go. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, Twitch is doing a new thing now when you give somebody a shout out. And Warrior, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. Really appreciate that. Do I like trains? Yes, Gossamer, I do like trains. Hello, Auzem, welcome. Yeah, Maryland, I fear I've got a lot of catching up to do because I've been away for so long. Like I said, it's been 16 months that I was working on the guide and only was able to do a handful of streams that I have probably missed a lot of updates to Twitch. There are probably a fair few things that have been added. Months, Auzem, not years. Months. God, I can't imagine working on one book for 16 years. That'd be my autobiography, if anything. Boy, I could probably spend more than 16 years writing that book. No, Maryland, 85 years is how old I am. In spirit, if nothing else. They added in-house shoutouts, no kidding. You move trains at your job, Quiet? You work in a rail yard? That's pretty cool. Yeah, I really do like trains. Genuinely, I love trains, in fact. Alright, oh god, this is a lot of controls to try to remember. Although, okay, actually, maybe it's not as bad as I thought, because this is just, movement is the left stick, recentering camera is pushing in one or the other of the analog sticks, it doesn't say which one. Camera is the right stick, okay, that's easy enough. Do you know, Auzem, as old as I am and as old as I feel, I hate to admit this, but really I'm pretty much still just a 17 or 18-year-old trapped in an adult's body and just trying very hard to play the part because I have no choice. Sometimes you gotta fake it till you make it, and, well, I'm still faking it. Soul Bishop, honestly, all of those secrets are pretty much already revealed in my old YouTube videos. You guys know all the secrets I have to share about the Souls games. Alright, ability menu. Open and close cargo. Some of these I'll probably just have to rely on the in-game tutorials. Interact. Reel. Oh god. Multifunction buttons, okay. Pick up and place item. Oh god, LB is shared by ability menu and rotate left. Oh dear, okay. Oh, freaking thanks, Echo Drop, for the gift sub to German Mayo. I know how you operate, I know that's you. Soul Bishop, that's an interesting question. I probably would at least have a section discussing some of my favorite recipes in my autobiography. But, like, if you're going to leave a book behind for other people to read decades after your own lifetime, yeah, you might as well leave behind some of your favorite recipes as well, right? I mean, I don't know that any of my recipes are complicated enough to bother writing them down. But I know that you're a professional chef, Soul Bishop, so in your case it's probably a little bit different. Sell, buy, page... Oh god, I'm just gonna have to figure some of this out in-game, I think. Because jump left and jump right? Fast ability? What the heck kind of game is this? Move item. Scarred item. But yeah, I'm gonna have to just figure some of this stuff out in game. This is too much to try to remember just by looking at the menu. So now that I've done my usual maddening intro of sitting at the title screen talking for an hour, let's actually play the game. Oh, that's pretty. A little ominous, though. Angler wanted. Job listing. Okay. Good. I'm pleased to see that our main character still uses analog paper charts. Oh, okay. And we hit some rocks in the fog. Fantastic. And the lighthouse was right there. How could we hit those rocks? We were literally right below the lighthouse. Alright, I'm not sure I buy that, but okay. The morning light fills your eyes, and you try to sit upright. You're lying on the cold, wet dock where you collapsed the night before. This is basically just every Friday for me. I guess not, Artista. He must have been sailing drunk, because. Hey, Sagari. Paper doesn't run out of bed. Well, Sisu, it more like if you lose your engines out in the middle of the ocean, and you have no power, and your generators fail. You can't rely on chart plotters or electronic instruments or GPS. So when you're out navigating, it's always, always, always really important to bring paper charts with you as a backup. If you don't do that, you're basically asking for trouble. A short man is shouting orders at a handful of workers disembarking from a boat nearby. The man notices you. Welcome to Greater Marrow. I must say, quite the dramatic first impression. I see you've already introduced yourself to the jagged rocks along the bay. Yeah, they're assholes. Did you not see the lighthouse? It was shining right at... Oh, good. I'm glad we addressed this. I'm glad we've covered this. A fat minister. Yeah. This is pretty much a fat minister, Auzum. I'm just waiting for him to start throwing fire at me and, attacking me with a great axe. Oh, man. You not see the lighthouse? It was shining right at you. Oh, well, I'm glad to see our new fisherman upright and breathing. Your boat was hopelessly damaged, but I've had a few of the locals move your things to one of our old vessels. We'll catch up later to discuss more details. Oh, okay. Just straight up giving me a new boat. Maybe this guy is actually a little bit cooler than a fat minister. I have to say, I do like his pocket watch and chain. Mallet space, Drakmunden. Yeah, Gossamer, I do too. I'll let you get out there to catch some fish. See if you can fill your cargo while you get your bearings in the light. Finally, I don't suppose I need to say this, but get back by sundown before the fog rolls in. Keep a close eye on the time. It can really creep up on you. Okay. Well, that's a clear enough warning. Greater Marrow. Oh, there's nothing for me to do here. Hang on. Why? Okay. Alright, and then this is... I'm guessing this is the contents of our cargo hold? Boat speed 24 knots, fishing speed 85%. Lights. 0 lumens? And no money. Okay, so my guess here is that we must have called ahead to answer the ad, because the mayor seemed to expect us. Right, Monotone, I'm already getting Resident Evil 4 flashbacks. I have a feeling we're going to be playing some cargo hold Tetris here. I can already tell that's going to be a thing. Okay, well, what do we got? We've got a peculiar engine. 14 knots speed. Someone's tuned this engine in an unfamiliar way. Whatever they did seems to have given it more power than normal. Man, I sure do love it when I wash up in a strange town and the mayor just gives me a boat that has been upgraded with nitrous oxide. Like, the engine already has an NO2 bottle. That's pretty funny. And a basic fishing pole. Okay, fishing speed plus 35%, catches coastal. Splintered and fragile, this rod is only capable of catching the smallest of fish. Fascinating. You played fish Tetris, chicken Tetris, and pork Tetris. Yeah, Echo Drop, because you make ramen. Ramen is kind of a game of Tetris. I've got to say, arranging all those ingredients nicely on top of the noodles is a bit of a game of Tetris, isn't it? Yeah, now I can do sick donuts in the ocean, Artista. I can just go in front of the dock, just go out a couple of kilometers, and just do burnouts. Which isn't really a thing with a boat, because they have no tires, but you know what I mean. I can't speak for anybody else, Soul Bishop, but I have always loved ships, and I've always loved the sea. Which I suspect is probably a result of having grown up in New England. Yeah, Denim. Like a jet ski. We'll just take the boat out into the ocean and play some Wave Race 64 is what we'll do. I need to upgrade the engine before we do that, though. I suspect that's going to be a thing. If the engine is a thing at all, then we must be able to upgrade it. Alright, okay, cargo, and then we have a cabin tab. Pursuit. A fresh start. Catch fish for the day. Met the mayor of Greater Marrow, who sent me out to catch some fish and find my bearings. Seems nice enough. Warned me to be back before nightfall, though. Said something about fog. Bit dramatic. I don't know. I have a feeling if he's warning us about fog, there's probably a good reason why. Messages... What? Hang on a minute. Did I hear that correctly? Is the sound effect for opening the messages tab the sound of pulling a cork out of the bottle, and then the sound for closing the tab is just that sound effect reversed? I'm pretty sure that's what I'm hearing. I don't know why I find that so funny. Like, that's the kind of thing I used to do when I was editing YTP videos. Is just, yeah, let's just reverse this sound effect, because it's funny. Ah, indie game devs. Oh, okay, wow. I guess this is a... Wow, this is intricate. The Marrows, Gale Cliffs, Stellar Basin, Twisted Strand, Devil's Spine, Open Ocean, Exotic Aberrations? Oh, you know what? The shadows, or the blank images of the aberrations each appear to be slightly different in shape. So I'm guessing this is just an encyclopedia of the different fish you can catch. Oh yeah, because I see a squid there. I see what looks like it might be an eel. I see what's probably a flounder. Oh yeah, a ray, a swordfish, Couple of sharks, it looks like. Crabs. Okay. Oh, the crabs don't have aberrations. That's interesting. Yeah, I guess it's like a fishing Pokedex. That's interesting. And then it even lists the, or it lists some of the different oceanic depth zones. That's really interesting as well. Boy, I guess this this game really goes into this game goes into a fair amount of detail. And Mortiferu, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. Surprise to you as well. Good to see you, man. God, I really missed you guys. It's been way too long. So, the oceanic zones are... Let me see if I can find you guys a chart, because it's easier to show this than to try to describe it. But since it seems like they're going to be relevant, it's probably worth... Pull this up here. See if I can even find a good image anyway. Oh, you know what? I have a better idea. The Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution will probably have a good explanation. Yeah, here we go. So... Oh, whoops. So these zones sometimes go by different names. When I was taking biology class back in high school and college years ago, these went by somewhat more formal names, but here, let me just post this in chat for everybody who is interested. Because the ocean is divided into different zones based on the depth, and different species of... Oh, come on. Twitch really does not want to let me, use my own channel points to... I wonder if I can... No, I can't. For some reason, I cannot do this with channel points, but I can just do this. There you go. So this website lists the zones under their more common names. The Sunlit Zone, the Twilight Zone, the Midnight Zone. It's based on light penetration. Basically how much light reaches that portion of the ocean. Because believe it or not, water does block sunlight, and the more water there is between you and the sun, the less sunlight penetrates the water. So basically, the deeper in the ocean you go, the less light there is. And all of the different organisms at each zone of depth are adapted for the level of light, not to mention the level of water pressure that exists at those depths. Because obviously the deeper you go, the more water there is above you pressing down, the more pressure there is. So that's why scuba divers can only dive just so deep before the pressure of the water above them crushes their lungs and they die. That's why you need specially built submersibles to get to really extreme depths. So that's the list of common names of the zones, but I know them by the Mesopelagic zone, the Bathypelagic zone, the Abyssopelagic zone, and the Hadalpelagic zone. And then there are different benthic habitats, which are the floor, the ocean floor. Benthic basically means bottom. And so there are abyssal plains, there are, what are there? There are hydrothermal vents, which are basically locations of volcanic activity on the ocean floor. There are canyons, there are reefs at the bottom of the ocean, sometimes really deep. There are what are called seamounts, which are kind of the opposite of canyons. They're like almost underwater mountain ranges. And each of these different habitats has different organisms that are adapted for living in them. Now, I happen to know that we have a marine biologist here in chat, my very dear friend and moderator, Major Monotone, who can probably comment a lot more on this stuff than I can. I only have a basic and sort of cursory knowledge of these matters that I kind of gathered as just a trivial pursuit over the years, and what little I remember from my biology classes, but Monotone can probably expand far more on this. So I'm going to leave that to him from here on out. I'll share what I know if I have anything relevant, but it's just fascinating to me to open this encyclopedia and to see over here just, yeah, we've got representations anyway of the abyssal and the hadal zones, and all of the, they don't go by the common names here, but coastal and shallow are potentially the, mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones. The volcanic and mangrove environments are interesting to see here as well, because they aren't specifically zones of the ocean, but they are very unique habitats. Mangrove in particular, I'm very interested that there are mangrove forests in this game. Mangroves are a whole other issue. They're disappearing. There aren't too many mangrove forests left on Earth due to habitat destruction and development. And mangroves in particular are pretty sensitive to pollution, and the biomes in which they tend to live are being overfished. They're being polluted by human activity, and they're unfortunately disappearing, and there really needs to be more effort to preserve them. But I'm interested to see how they look in this game. That's pretty cool. So anyway, that's my half-hour rant on the encyclopedia, and then it seems we have a map. Are the crab pot catches? I'm not sure what you're asking there. If you're asking, are there crab pots, Soul Bishop? Maybe? Neo Shadow, welcome back. Thank you so much. Oh, no kidding, Medic. That is cool. Yeah, I really love the mangrove environment. It's super pretty, and there are so many different creatures that live either exclusively or primarily in mangroves. So many species of fish, so many terrestrial animals as well. Oh, the fish deck shows if they're rod, trawl, or pot catchable. I didn't notice that, Soul Bishop. Okay, well, I mean, if the fish deck said that there are pots, then there must be crab pots. Or lobster pots, maybe. I don't know if this game is actually supposed to be set in New England. It doesn't look like it is. It looks like it's just in a sort of fantasy location, because I don't know of any place on the east coast of the US that has this configuration of islands. I mean, the environments kind of remind me of, like, Massachusetts, Connecticut, like Salem, maybe Boston or Martha's Vineyard, that sort of area, like Hull or somewhere there. Yeah, Sisu, I doubt that's a coincidence. Oh, that's right, Medic. You did mention that you were raised in Florida, and I completely forgot that Florida did have some mangroves. Yeah, it's depressing how people fail to take care of such sensitive environments. Alright, so we've got a map, and I guess the marrows are the center. This must be the sort of tutorial area, I guess. Alright, well, undock. Move forward with the left stick, use... Oh, okay, this is basically tank controls, then. Well, I grew up in the 80s and 90s. I've played a game or two that had tank controls. I'm no stranger. Rotate the camera with the right stick. Okay. Oh, alright. That's pretty good. Move to a fishing spot. Look for splashes on the surface, then press A to start I really wish these games had button prompts for DualShock controllers. Hello, Ethan Owner, welcome! I have been well, thank you, just incredibly busy. I have not played Octopath Traveler. I unfortunately haven't had time to play much of anything except Elden Ring for the past year and a half, because I've been working on the official guide for Elden Ring for the past year and a half. So, if you're compelled to ask me any questions that begin with, have you played, I guarantee you the answer is no, because I haven't had time. Yeah, Artcat, they take some getting used to if you didn't grow up in the generation where they were common. But, I mean, I played the hell out of Resident Evil 2, the original Resident Evil 2 as a kid, and a lot of other games like it, so I've got a bit of experience with tank controls. And honestly, for a game like this, they really do make sense. Choketh, I saw a few of my friends playing it, and I heard a few people talking about it online. And I did a little bit of cursory research on it, and I really like the look of it. I like the art style. I liked what the gameplay seems to be. Actually, though, before anything else, I need to ask you guys, how is the audio balance? Is the game drowning me out? Because I'm looking at my audio levels in OBS, and it looks as though the game might be drowning me out here. So I kind of feel like maybe we turn down the music a little more. Sounds good. All right. If the game ends up being too quiet now, then I'll readjust the volume levels and turn it back up. But it's really difficult to go by audio meters because they don't always tell the truth. And I want to make sure that... Oh, is it out for Switch too, Choketh? I didn't realize it was available for more than just PC. Younger gamers definitely, Soul Bishop, because the recent couple of decades worth of games have generally not used tank controls. I think a lot of developers regard them as sort of a deprecated input method. And I understand why. Like, if you're controlling a human character with tank controls, yeah, no, that's absolutely archaic, and you need to rethink your design decisions. But if you're controlling a vehicle, especially a vehicle like a boat or, you know, an actual tank, they do kind of make a certain amount of sense. Especially a boat, because with a boat, that's pretty much how a boat works. You've got a throttle where you have different forward and reverse speeds, and you have a rudder, which determines your heading, essentially. And so tank controls are a perfect fit for a game like this, but you wouldn't want to use them to control, like, again, a human character. In the Resident Evil games, the early RE games, the tank controls were just nightmarishly difficult to use. Oh, interesting, Soul Bishop. That's adorable, though. Like, honestly, that's really... That's kind of cute that she drives backwards in Mario Kart. You gotta start somewhere, right? I didn't sit down in front of the NES at my babysitter's house when I was 5 and just immediately beat Mega Man 3. You know, it took me some time to figure out how to even make it to one of the bosses, let alone how to deal with the bosses and actually defeat them. Yeah, Soul Bishop, it has, but it's not just the control preference that's changed. It's the games themselves that have changed and evolved. And back in the day, most games didn't have the kind of fast-paced action that you see now in titles like Devil May Cry or Bayonetta Or, I mean, even the Souls games, which are not the fastest paced of action games, but the boss fights in the Souls games can still get pretty intense. And that kind of pacing did not used to really be possible in games on earlier consoles that didn't have the technical capabilities to make it happen. There were a few developers who did. I mean, if you were... Like, I tend to think back to the turbo tunnel in Battletoads, where, yeah, there were developers who achieved that fast-paced action by using some very clever tricks. I don't know that Battletoads is a game that I would ever want to replay, though. And that brings us back to the issue of, okay, well, was the design good? You know, maybe they achieved the fast pace, but was it actually fun to play? That's another question, right? So... I feel like modern games are much more conducive, and modern technology is much better at facilitating pacing that requires your controls to be more responsive and more snappy. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why tank controls have gone the way of the dodo, is that for controlling a human character, they're just not sufficient for that really snappy, responsive control. Whereas, if you're driving a vehicle, tank controls make sense. You know? My thoughts on FromSoft finally making a new Armored Core game, Eldritch? Honestly, I think it's a good thing. People have been wanting that for a long time. And ever since the Souls games took off, FromSoft kind of let its other IPs fall by the wayside. So, I happen to know for a fact that the reason they are doing a new Armored Core game is because enough people started making noise about it and requesting it, and their publishers started to let them know. And so they are responding to essentially fan demand. But I think the Souls series has drawn attention to some of FromSoft's other IP. Yeah, SumSoft. I'm not tired. You're tired. The Souls games have drawn attention to some of FromSoft's other IPs, and I think that's a good thing. It's a good thing for Armored Core, certainly, and I'm really interested to see what a modern reboot of Armored Core looks like. I may or may not play it, but I think it's a good thing. Plus, it gives Miyazaki something to do other than make Souls games, which I know he's already said he's kind of tired of. So, yeah, no, I see it as only a positive. Well, see, so there was an old software development company called Sunsoft. As a matter of fact, I think Squaresoft might have been an offshoot of the original Sunsoft. Hey, Lex, welcome. I might be misremembering that, but I think that's the case. Oh, holy hell, Quaya! Thank you so much for the 10 gift subs to Shinobi1676, Asafraga, Ansel White, Hawkmai, Exertion, Cassini, Mithro, Corknut, Slava, and Tenshi Nanael. Jeez, Quaya. And Princess Cat Power! My friend! Welcome! Guys, if you don't know her, please do yourselves a huge favor, head on over and follow my very good friend Princess Cat Power. I had the tremendous privilege of attending PAX East this year with Princess Cat Power and Gossamer, whom you already met. She stopped in a little earlier. And it was just a really, really fun time. I had the privilege of playing host for them and showing them around Boston and taking them to all kinds of cool places like the aquarium and the Science Museum. And if you want to see some of the pictures of that they took, head on over and follow Princess Cat Power and check out her Instagram, because I think you've uploaded some of those to Instagram by now, right? Or I recall you saying you were going to. And then Lou, I think, said he was also going to upload some of his. Oh, thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you. That's so sweet. I'm glad I did a good job. Yeah, you've probably been pretty busy since you got home, huh? Soul Bishop, it's possible. Oh, Lex, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. Really appreciate that. I am doing all right, thank you. Amanda, thank you so much for stopping in. I've had a little bit of time to rest since I got home, which is nice. I haven't had time to edit any of my footage or upload it yet. Things have just... It's been crazy since I got home, and I thought I'd have a little more time than I did. But, I'm finally back. I can finally stream again, and I finally got some grocery shopping done. So my refrigerator is no longer empty, because obviously I used up all of my fresh food before I left for PAX, so that I wouldn't come home and find tentacles sprouting out of my refrigerator. Yeah, Soul Bishop, we've been at PAX. Soul Bishop, it is incredible. Like, you really should see some of the pictures. We've got a few. There are a few that I took, and there are a few that that Amanda and Gossamer took, and there are some really good ones that Amanda's roommate Luminous took. We went to the Boston Public Library. There are some fantastic shots of that. There's some great shots of the aquarium. I think Lou got a really good one of a big octopus at the aquarium. Tyrannies, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. Yeah, I probably could, Choketh. Hello, Fontes. Good to see you. We got some really good ones. So once those are all up, you guys can... Maybe I'll post some on my Discord as well. But I want to double check with the others before I post anything, because I don't want to dox anybody if they don't want their faces shown. Because goodness knows I understand how that is. So I'll confer with the group, and I'll see what everybody is okay with me posting. And once I've got a final word on that, I'll put a few of them in the library on my Discord. Alright, what do we have here? Press A to start fishing. Wait, what? Oh, it's a different button. Okay. A and then X. Press X at the right time. Oh, okay. This type of minigame is one that I have done many times before in many other games. One that I am very familiar with. And then got a blue mackerel, which we can place with A or rotate with... Oh, okay. Alright, that's simple enough. You were a game blogger, Soul Bishop? Boy, the more I find out about you, the more I like you. That's cool. I never realized you had that, Was that before or after you were a chef, Soul Bishop? Oh, okay, and we can fish again, it looks like. So stock must mean how many fish are left at this fishing spot. Oh, that's right, Amanda, you're at work at this time of day. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call you out and put you on the spot. I totally forgot you'd be working. Okay. Oh, and we fished out the entire spot. Okay. Yeah, you know, Tyrannies, I kind of like this. This is not bad. This is kind of relaxing. What do we have here? What's this? Sparkles on the buoy. A floating buoy. It serves to mark safe passage past dangerous rocks and obscured hazards. Its dim light also provides a brief respite in the gloom of the night. Okay. That sounds like an important mechanic that they're not telling us everything about. Oh, well, I'm so glad you can too, Amanda, and hopefully from here on out they're not going to be so rare now that I'm done with the guide. And I can actually stream on a regular basis again. Wait, what am I... Huh, okay, that appears to control something I cannot tell what it does. Disturbed water. You don't have the right equipment to fish in this spot. Ah, okay. What about this spot? Coastal, okay. We got a cod. Okay, very good. Ah, Puff, hello and welcome. The guide for Elden Ring, Ultralex. I've been working on the official strategy guide for Elden Ring. Hey, Debler, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, monotone, but I feel like, I understand that. Like, the only reason for the buoys to be red and green is for us to keep them properly to our port or starboard side, depending upon which way we're headed. And that clearly doesn't matter in this game. So, like, I get it. It'd be nice if they were, but I feel like if they were, then it would be misleading. Like, because I'd be looking at red and green buoys, and I'd be like, oh, okay, alright, well, I'm supposed to keep that one to starboard and that one to port. But there probably isn't really a purpose for that in this game. Ouija, hello and welcome. Good to see you, man. And there's another very, very good person who deserves a shout-out. Guys, go check out Ouija. Ouija is pretty much entirely a charity streamer who streams to support his local hospital. And a really, really cool dude. Good to see you, Ouija. How you doing? All right. Simple enough. Okay, we've depleted that stock. What about here? Time only advances when you're moving, fishing, or taking other specific actions. Okay, that's good to know. Oh, that's shallow. Okay, wait a minute then. So this is coastal? Or is this oceanic? Coastal, okay. Awesome. Practically worthless, but enough to stave off hunger. Oh, come on! Mackerel is delicious! As a matter of fact, I just, when I went grocery shopping the other day, I just bought a whole bunch of canned mackerel. Because I quite like it. And it's a nice, inexpensive source of protein. Ah, blast it. Okay, I guess that's what happens when you fail, then. Alright, and, guess that's that. So, back to port we go. And not a moment too soon, it looks like we've just hit evening. Wait a minute! What is that eye? That wasn't there before. Select your lights by holding LB, then toggle them with X. Lights help you see, but make you more visible. Wait a minute, make you more visible? Visible to what? Huh. Okay. Hey, Trina, good to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Good to see you. Yeah, no, Soul Bishop, canned mackerel is fantastic. It's really filling, it's not that expensive, and, I mean, you have to be careful where you source it from. You don't want to be getting mackerel that's fished from polluted waters, but, as long as you're careful about that, it's great. Excellent, supplement to any diet, as long as you're not strictly vegetarian. Oh, okay, you have to hold X to dock. Or hold A, I guess. You step onto the dock at Greater Marrow. The mayor is waiting nearby. Ah, I see you've returned in one piece. Very good. Before you head off to town, we should discuss the matter of your boat. My boat? I mentioned earlier, your old boat was too badly damaged to be repaired. However, I'm more than happy to sell you that replacement vessel. Yours to own. Well, that's awfully sporting of you. But I have a feeling there's a catch, isn't there? There's always a catch. To give you your Elden Ring book, Trina. I understand you may not have the necessary funds on hand, so we'll consider it a loan, but I want to make this easy for you. Oh, Slava, thank you so much for the $5 donation. Slava says, Franz, I always wanted to know if guides are commercially profitable, meaning that they bring in more money than was spent on making them. Could you please explain? Slava, that's a good question, and it's a depressing answer. For most companies, the answer is no. For Future Press at the moment, the answer in general is yes, but there's a very specific set of reasons why. And that set of reasons revolves mostly around the fact that they're not just guides for the purpose of providing information on the game. They are also collector's items. And it is mostly their collector value that makes them desirable enough for them to sell at a profit. Because we only do limited print runs of each book. We may do a reprint, but typically we won't do too many reprints. I think we only did one reprint of the Dark Souls remaster book, and I believe we're doing a reprint of book 1 of the Elden Ring guide, because I think the original print run had sold out. But once the initial print runs are done, that's it. Their collector's value is the primary source of their value, and it is the collector value, I think, more than anything about these guides, and some of the unique stuff that they contain as well, right? Because we try to add really nice artwork, we try to, as best we can, arrange for interviews with the developers. We try to get as much exclusive stuff as possible to add to these books to help improve their collector value as well. And so that's the main thing that keeps printed strategy guides commercially viable in an era of community sites and crowdsourced information and wikis and Fextralife and all of those sorts of online resources. That's how Future Press competes and stays in business, is by offering, first of all, an officially licensed product, and second of all, a product with which we directly collaborate with the developers and the publishers to provide exclusive content, basically. Does that answer your question, Slava? I hope that helps clarify things. A fair few by now, Soul Bishop. I've worked on Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne Old Hunters, which was a separate supplemental guide to Bloodborne. I've worked on Horizon Zero Dawn. I've worked on the Dark Souls Trilogy Compendium, and I have now worked on both books of the Elden Ring guide. No problem, Slava. I'm happy to help clarify. Yeah, Denim, it is a very good thing. Let's see. Until your debt is repaid, a tiny portion of your fish sales will go toward paying it off. A small amount of interest will go toward improving the town. Alright, you know what? As long as my taxes actually go to improving the town and not into the pockets of some filthy, corrupt oligarchs. I'm all right with that. That's how taxes are supposed to work. So to recap, you'll need to sell fish to the local market, paying off your debt, and in turn, keeping the population fed and satisfied. Where do I sell the fish? Which is the rather more important question here. Our local fishmonger will appraise and purchase what you catch. He's open all hours. Wow, I would hate to have his job. Off you go then. Sell those fish while they're still fresh. Oh, okay, I bet they spoil if you wait too long. That makes sense. Yeah, spoiled fish sucks. Incredible, Soul Bishop. Yes, I mean, as long as we're not improving the town by helping the mayor to build a bigger swimming pool in his backyard, Puff, yes. The fishmonger loves slave labor, Denim. Yeah, that's right. He loves working 24 hours a day, constantly being on call. He chooses to. It's not like he has to survive. You enter a squalid shack on the fringe of the marketplace. The familiar smell of fish fills the air. Flies buzz haphazardly around a downcast man behind the counter. You're the new fisherman, eh? Surprised they found a new one so fast. What do you mean, a new one? What happened to the old one? It takes a certain type of person to last out there. It's not a life for everyone. Wow, okay. Don't want to talk about it, huh? He really loves fish, Denim. Okay. If he really loves fish... Yeah, Soul Bishop, you can. All you have to do is catch it yourself. Anyway, to business. I'll pay you for fish. Bigger and fresher means more money. Some species are just worth more, too. Other towns on other islands may pay a different, but while you... Wait. Is a fishmonger, it's in them... I mean, yes, Vic, that's true, but even a fishmonger has to go home and sleep every now and then. Other towns on other islands might pay you different, but while you've still got a debt outstanding here, I'd suggest you work on paying it off first. Sunless Sea? Sagari, but isn't Sunless Sea a scuba diving game? Isn't that where you swim under the water? So let's see what you've got. Oh, and it tells you the price. Okay. So actually, I'm interested in the most efficient catch. And I know you're all going to be rolling your eyes. Oh, look at Franz min-maxing the fishing simulator. Yes. Yeah, that's right. I'm going to min-max the freaking fishing simulator. Stop me. So, the way that we determine the most efficient catch is we take the sale price and we divide it by the number of spaces the fish takes in the cargo hold. So... what we're actually calculating is the price per space in the cargo hold that the fish takes, or that the fish will yield. So, for the blue mackerel, we're looking at 974, 874... Oh, and their size determines their price, so we're going to have to go by average size. So, 19 centimeters, 15.9... 20, 15, 18, 13, 22, 17. Okay, so it looks like average size for a blue mackerel is about 19 centimeters. It's about 964, 828. All right, so what we do is 964... divided by 2, because the mackerel takes up 2 spaces in the cargo hold, which yields, on average, $4.82 per mackerel per space. Now, the cod, 86 centimeters, 78 centimeters, 72. So we'll go with the middle of the 3. We'll go with 78 centimeters as average, and that gives us an average price of $17.14. So, 1714 divided by 3 which is how many spaces the cod take, equals $5.71 per space. So the cod is actually somewhat more profitable. I've never played D&D, Soul Bishop, but I think this is probably one of the reasons why. Because if I did, this is exactly what would happen. Debler, tips or anything to improve your pan sauces? You know how to deglaze with wine or liquor, but any recommendations would be helpful. So, Debler, actually, you're in luck because Soul Bishop, a professional chef, is here today, and he might be able to give you some tips as well. But for me, deglazing with wine or liquor is not something I usually do because I don't like alcohol in my food, even if I've cooked a lot of it off. I don't generally use it in my cooking. I typically substitute it with stock. Usually either beef or chicken stock. Occasionally, if I can't get beef or chicken stock, I'll use vegetable stock. I don't generally have the time to make my own stock. Like, you can make your own, but it's a bit of a process. Like, you'd have to go to the grocery store and specifically request that they give you 3 or 4 pounds of beef bones or chicken bones, and then you'd have to take the bones home and roast them at a low temperature in your oven for a few hours, and then simmer them in a big pot of water for another few hours, and maybe add a little bit of seasoning or like some carrots or celery or something. I don't have the time for that, so I just get stock at a grocery store because I don't use it that quickly. But I use stock in my pan sauces for deglazing. And if you have a marinade, Debler, like if you're if a container of stock is open, Greg, it's perishable. But what you can do to prevent it from perishing is you can highly concentrate your stock. Like, you can boil it down until it's highly concentrated, and then you can pour it into an ice cube tray, and then you can freeze it for as long as you want, and whenever you need to reconstitute it and make some stock, you just take one of your highly concentrated ice cubes of homemade stock and throw it into a pot of water, and you've got your stock. Yeah, and it seems like Echo Drop has the same idea. That's something that people do. It's a trick I learned from a professional chef, actually, who was my my culinary arts teacher in high school. So, yeah. I use stock, and sometimes you can add other things to your pan sauce as well. Sometimes you can add butter. You can thicken it a tiny bit with just a very little bit of cornstarch, but you need to make sure you cook it fully. Yeah, there you go, Soul Bishop, exactly. Oh, okay, Sagari, that's interesting. I guess I mixed it up with a different game, then. But yeah, Debler, if you're adding things to your pan sauce like garlic, you want to be very gentle with those things. You add the garlic like 30 seconds before you're done cooking, because garlic will overcook very quickly. And if you're adding fresh garlic, that goes in at the end, and you basically let the residual heat finish cooking it. But like, what sorts of specific things are you using your pan sauces for? Heavy cream? Oh yeah, by all means, Debler. Heavy cream is an excellent addition to sauces. Usually, Debler, you'll see heavy cream used for dishes like penne alla vodka. Usually what will happen is the chef will use a base of heavy cream and then add some vodka at the very end, and then that will be the base of the sauce for penne. Sometimes they'll add other things as well. Cream-based sauces usually have things like rosemary or thyme or mushrooms. That's a very common way of preparing them. But sometimes they have other things in them as well. The most common one, the cream-based sauce that I like for things like pasta, uses fresh rosemary, fresh thyme, fresh sage. I like to add a little bit of sage to my cream sauce. And then a couple of different kinds of mushrooms, whatever you can get. I like to use porcinis and morels if I can get them, but morels get expensive. So when I'm on a budget, which is most of the time, I just use typically crimini or button mushrooms, or sometimes shiitakes because they have a really nice flavor. Bourbon Dijon pan sauce thickened with heavy cream. Interesting. Yeah, Debler, cream is one possible way to thicken a sauce, but if you don't want to add dairy, you can just use a very, very small pinch of cornstarch. Asriel, thank you so much for the resub. Welcome back. I really appreciate that. All right, let's see. So, is there a sell all button? Sell all fish. Okay. Ah, and you hold it. Okay. Debt adjusted. Okay, so he took a little bit less than 10%. We made 150 in profit, and he took like 22 for the debt. Oh, no, so it was a little more than 10%. It was like 15% or so. All right, fine. I can live with that. Ah, yeah, Soul Bishop. I actually have been making my own compound butter for a while. My favorite one, the one that I still have a little bit of left, actually, I made my last one with basil, parsley, and tarragon. And I find that's a really nice one for omelets. The tarragon adds a really nice little bit of sweetness. For the Dijon pan sauce, Debler, if it's for steak, you want to think about what sorts of herbs go well with steak. So again, you're talking about possibly rosemary. I've seen pink peppercorns used in those kinds of sauces as well. I think they're a really cool touch, and they have a nice flavor. Again, possibly sage. A little bit of sage, and then... Yeah, fennel is a good call as well for the mustard, Soul Bishop, for sure. Alright, so that's our... The mayor is standing outside the fishmonger's store. Excellent work. I have no doubt you'll be able to provide for this town. Aritos, thank you so much for the resub. 85 months. My God, have I really been streaming that long? Izaku, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for stopping in. You sure did, Aritos. Good to see you, friend. Look here, I found this down by the docks. I'm sure someone like you could make something out of it. Why don't you take it? The heck? Research part? Curious-looking component. Could be used to develop new equipment, but would need some investigation at a dock first. Huh. Okay. To storage. Oh, one last thing. Our local shipwright mentioned she might be able to make some modifications to your ship. Ah, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Juice up my engines, baby. Yeah, no worries, Debler. Soul Bishop, you know I wouldn't have it any other way. Alright, Wait, well, I only have $26 left on my ship loan repayment? Wait a minute. Did the mayor just give me this little tugboat for 50 bucks? Boy, that's a steal. Do you guys know how much even a 30-foot speedboat costs nowadays? Soul Bishop, wait a minute. You actually do cooking streams? Why did I not know about this? I'm gonna follow you right now. Why did you never bother mentioning this, Soul Bishop? What to do with Noki? Neo Shadow. Oh, if only Alex were here, he'd be able to give you some ideas. I don't actually make Noki on a regular basis, Neo Shadow. The traditional use for it is often it's served in goulash or soup. I've seen it sometimes on its own, but this is one of those relatively few situations where I am at a loss. I don't really make it, unfortunately. Soul Bishop, well, you should do it more, so that I can come raid you. Oh, that's a good idea too, Choketh. Alright, what do we got at the shipwright? As you walk into the yard, you see the shipwright making repairs to a damaged hull. She looks up at you briefly before turning back to her work. You must be the new fisherman. I can make improvements to your vessel in the yard. Mind you, I'm not in the business of doing favors around here. Payment is up front, and everything takes some time to install. Also, if you take on any damage from the rocks or any damage at all. Oh, implying that there's something other than the rocks that might cause damage, huh? I can patch it up, mostly. She shrugs and gestures toward the hull she's currently attempting to repair. A number of wooden boards, all well above the waterline, are splintered and scratched. Well, okay. That's not out of the ordinary. There are a lot of things above the waterline that could damage a ship. Collision with a dock or another ship or even a rock. Or, you know, even having something fall on it at the yard, like having a crane fall on it. Take a look around. Just remember, the bigger the equipment, the longer it takes to install, so plan ahead. Oh, okay. We've got a couple of fishing rods. What do we have here? A weighted line. Strengthened lines can catch larger and deeper fish. And a lightweight rod suited to catching fish that live in the shallows. Small spool makes for limited reeling speed. Okay. Alright, so what do we have? Simple skimmer. Oh, I see the difference. This one, they're both for shallow water, but this one has much faster fishing speed. Whereas... okay, this one is for coastal use. Wow! But this banged up old fishing pole... okay, so we basically have the choice between... we have the choice between efficient speed and efficient space. Hello, Ed. Welcome. Evil red beam behind... oh, yeah! Off on the right. I can't get a good look at it through the menus. We'll have to check it out in a moment. Okay, so we're going to have to come back. Actually, hang on. There were other tabs in her inventory, weren't there? Right, okay. Oh, alright. We've got engines... speed plus 10 knots. Hang on, what's the speed of our current engine? 14 knots. Trawl nets, but we have none. And lights, okay. Wow, that's expensive! 750 lumens, though. Okay. Research. Oh, okay, so this is the upgrade tree. I understand. Oh no, Ed, I'm sorry. I did see it. I didn't mean to sound like I was ignoring you. There's so much going on. Thank you for stopping in. I am all right, Ed. I've been okay, just incredibly busy. We have here a flexible fishing pole. Coastal and shallow. Okay. Yeah, so it looks like I need one more research part for the flexible fishing pole. But once I have that, it will supersede anything that's buyable right now. And it will significantly increase our fishing speed without the need to take up any additional hull space. Or it'll take up one additional space, but it will completely replace any of the other rods that I can buy now. So, all right, and what do we have? Catches volcanic and shallow, mangrove and coastal. Coastal, shallow, mangrove, and volcanic. Very interesting. Okay. What do we have here? Oh, abyssal and hadal. This must be a long line, which is what's used for really, really deep sea fishing by, like, commercial operations. And this looks like some kind of, this looks like a commercial fishing winch. And then, yeah, the same, like a really, really advanced commercial winch. Hey, Nox, welcome. Good to see you. Yeah, monotone. I feel like probably the fishing rod is priority number one, because if we can't make money, we can't do anything else. Once we've got better equipment for making money, then we'll be in a much stronger position to start upgrading things like engines, rods, whatever else we have here. Yeah, okay. Improved outboard engine. Pots. Oh, pots and nets are both grayed out. So I guess we can't even research any of those so far. Alright, so he said not to go out at night. And I believe him. I suspect he probably knows what he's talking about, so let's rest. Oh, it automatically rests till dawn, but it looks like you can cancel it. Okay. Oh, no problem, Choketh. I really hope you enjoy it. I really like it so far. I mean, I've barely played it so far. I've spent most of the time just talking to chat, as I always do, but... The two friends on Steam that just logged into Dredge just sent you into a giggle fit? Yeah, it seems to really be making the rounds lately, Soul Bishop. But it looks like it probably deserves it. And you guys know me, there are a few things that I like more than supporting a good indie studio that put in a whole bunch of hard work on a fantastic game. What time period is it set in? I'm guessing, Sagari, probably early 1900s. Or maybe even late 1800s, but I don't think it's really clear. Like, the level of technology is definitely post-Victorian. But it doesn't seem to be a modern, like, year 2000s sort of era. I mean, I see rubber tires, and I see boats and buildings with electric lights. So, 1900s. Oh, no kidding, Soul Bishop. Merchant of Disguise was a fun game. I did enjoy that one. Not a very long game, but a fun one. And I'm kind of interested to revisit Black Skylands when it's finished as well, which I think it might actually be by now. Oh, were they, St. Trina? Part of me is surprised to hear that, but actually, now that I think about it, it does make sense. And Rachel is also a big fan of cosmic horror as well, so... Yeah, early 30s or 40s would make sense, Karaga. Yeah, Trina, and this game would make a perfect opportunity for Rachel to talk more about what a filthy racist Lovecraft was. It is when it's done well, Sigari. There's a limit, but... Yes. Yeah, Trina, exactly. That always seems to be the high point of the stream for many of the people who show up. Alright, let's see. Disembark. And let's go catch some fish. That looks like it should be coastal. I probably am not going to have the luxury to be picky, well, with what I catch. What do we have here? This also considered shallow, or is this coastal? Dredge? Don't have the right equipment for this. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, considering that the name of the game is Dredge, I imagine dredging is important enough that we will probably be introduced to it via the story. So I'm just gonna put that on a back burner for the time being. There we go, coastal waters. What? Was I not supposed to hit the yellow one? Ah, blast it too early. Okay, we're all fished out here. What do we have here? Ah, cod! Fantastic. And you know what? We can rearrange this a little bit to make room for more cod. Ah! Okay, and we are now out past nighttime, so I suspect it's probably a good time to head back. Well, we've got a few more spaces for fish. We can probably do a little better. Oh, squid! Okay. I will take some squid. We got an arrow squid. Alright. Wonder, actually. There we go, now we can fit two more. Perfect. Flawless victory. Okay. Exposure to fog and other things increases your panic. Bright lights and sleeping will reduce it. Oh, that's what that eye is? It's a panic gauge? Okay. Wait a minute. Is that rock? There was not a rock near that buoy before. Am I hallucinating that? Oh god, I just realized it. The eye is insight. It's insight. Oh no. Oh god, now all the fish are gonna start showing up with eyeballs all over them. I see what's going on here. Fear the old blood, huh? Gotcha. I understand now. I've had a special order come through from a customer. If you can fulfill it, I'll pay you above normal price. Okay. What do we got? They asked me for 1 Gulf flounder and 1 gray eel. Just bring them in when you have them. You'll need to have a rod that can handle shallow water fish in order to catch those. The shipwright should be able to sort that for you. All right, well, no problem. That's a pretty good catch. If you're hunting for a specific species, check your encyclopedia. No, Tsunami, or at least not the town that I'm in right now. This town is called... What is it called? Greater Marrow? And I've got $1.53 left on my loan. Okay. Well, we are going to sleep till morning. Oh, damn it, Shokuth, I forgot to check. That's a good question. Thank you for reminding me. A hunched woman approaches you from the steps of the lighthouse. She stops some distance away and looks at you with concern and visible apprehension. Why are you here? I've come to fish, I've come to see the area, or I've come to meet people. I mean, I'm basically here to fish. There's nothing here for someone like you anymore. Do yourself a favor and move on. She turns and shuffles back along the path that leads to the light. I have a feeling that lady knows way more than she's letting on. Because the lighthouse is clearly important. And if she's the keeper of the lighthouse, then she's got to have some secrets. Hello, Azaria Kiris. I hope I'm pronouncing that username correctly. Welcome. Yeah, just a totally normal old woman, Trina, right? Wait till you see the amygdala on the land. Yeah, Choketh, I'm going to have to walk up to the lighthouse and get grabbed and transported into the DLC. Right, Trina, right. I'm sure she doesn't have half a medallion to give me. Oh, I did! Perfect. Is it alright if I just call you Azaria? That would be a little bit easier for me if it would work for you. Oh yeah, Ezreal, he loved that kind of imagery. Pink Drink, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for the resub. Karaga, I have a feeling it won't be the last. Alright, I guess we did already rest. Because it's 0600 hours. Oh, okay, and I see that the mayor here wants to talk to us. Just the person I was hoping to see. Will you be sailing out east toward Little Marrow? Would you give this package to the dock worker there, please? Oh, okay. Small package. That was my nickname in high school. The contents don't feel like anything at all. Just a wrapped mess of shapes? Okay. The mayor hands you a small, damp package bound in string. It's dripping slightly. The dock worker will pay you upon delivery. Please be quick about it. I don't want it to spoil. Okay, so the package contains organic material of some kind. Soul Bishop, either organs or entire organisms. I'm not sure I want to know which. Don't forget to check your compass and map if you get lost. Yes, I've played a few Legend of Zelda games, Mr. Mayor. I know how they work. Not to mention, I know how to orienteer because I have that background as well. Of course, what I really need is some more research parts so I can make that fishing rod. Okay. We have a few different things to check. 1 flounder and 1 eel. Cecil, pay me well for filling the order. Okay. Deliver the package. Deliver a package to the dock worker at Little Marrow, which is to the east. Package feels quite dense and damp. Something is seeping through the paper. Curious, but I won't open it. The hell I'll open it! I don't want to be responsible for showing up with an open package. Never mind that I don't want to know what the hell is in it. What do we have here? Encyclopedia. Rises from the depths at night to feed or be fed upon. Yeah, squid is not exactly the highest on the food chain. Cod, plentiful and basic. Yeah. Cod is a common food fish. As is mackerel, honestly. Oh, and it actually gives us an average price for them as well. Okay. That makes it a lot easier to calculate their value per inventory space. And it seems as though my my estimates of their average value were pretty much on the money. $10 and $18. Yeah, I'm very curious about the aberrations, Fontes, but I have a feeling we'll find out soon enough. Oh, and actually, squid... Yeah, so mackerel will have an average value of $5 per inventory space. Cod will have an average value of $6 per inventory space. And squid has an average value of 7, so actually, squid is the most valuable of the available catches, but it appears as though it only shows up at night. Okay, got it. So, nighttime seems to be more dangerous, but it also seems to offer better payoffs. Okay, let's see. Can we zoom in on the map? It does not appear that we can. But it looks as though... Where is my compass? Oh, okay, it's up at the... Okay. So that must be Little Marrow directly ahead of us, then, because we're facing due east. That'll be shallow. There's no point trying to check that. And actually, I'm not going to take the risk of... Yeah, sorry about that, everybody. I forgot that I left my VPN on security mode, and I had to make adjustments to it to, Oh, no sound.